Multi-millionaire ex-Google executive warns us that the next 15 years will be hell before we get to heaven. Let's find out.
The only way for us to get to a better place and succeed as a species is
With
for
AI.
the evil people at the top to be replaced with AI. I mean, think about it. AI will not want to destroy ecosystems. It will not want to kill a million people. They'll not make us hate each other like the current leaders, because that's a waste of energy, explosives, money, and people. But the problem is, super intelligent AI is reporting to stupid leaders. And that's why in the next 15 years, we are going to hit a short-term dystopia. There's no escaping that.
Having AI leaders, is that even fundamentally possible?
That's dangerous.
Let's put it this way.
Mo Gawdat is back!
And the former chief business officer at Google X is now one of the most urgent voices in AI with a very clear message.
AI isn't your enemy, but it could be your savior.
I love you so
What?
much, man. You're such a good friend. But you don't have many years to live, not in this world. Everything's gonna change. Economics are gonna change. Human connection is gonna change. And lots of jobs will be lost, including podcaster.
No. Thank you for coming on today, Mo.
But the
Goodbye.
truth is, it could be the best world ever. The society completely full of laughter and joy. Free healthcare, no jobs, spending more time with their loved ones. A world where all of us are equal.
Is that possible?
100%. And I have enough evidence to know that we can use AI to build the utopia. But it's a dystopia if humanity manages it badly. A world where there's going to be a lot of control, a lot of surveillance, a lot of forced compliance, and a hunger for power.
It's already like
greed,
that in China.
ego. And it is happening already. But the truth is, the only barrier between a utopia for humanity and AI and the dystopia we're going through is a mindset.
What does society have to do?
First of all,
Right, let me know in the comment section down below if you
I see
agree.
messages all the time.
We're gonna check out the best parts of this. So let's go. Let's get into
ended
it.
up writing, predicting those things. I remember it was written in 2020, published in 2021.
Okay, so let's get to it. Says our freedom will be restricted. Obviously talking about AI. Yeah, let's find out.
Satisfied, because actually, what a billionaire wants isn't actually more money, it is more status.
Correct.
And I was looking at the sort of evolutionary case for this argument, and if you go back a couple of thousand years, money didn't exist. You were as wealthy as what you could carry. So even, I think, to the human mind, the idea of wealth and money isn't a thing. But what has always mattered from a survival of the fittest, from a reproductive standpoint, what's always had reproductive value, if you go back thousands of years, the person who was able to mate the most was the person with the most status. So it makes the case, the reason why billionaires get all of this money, but then they go on podcasts and they want to start their own podcast and they want to buy newspapers, is actually because at the very core of human beings is a desire to increase their status.
Yeah.
And so if we think of, when we
Power.
go back to the example of why wars are breaking out, maybe it's not money. Maybe actually it's status. And it's this prime minister or this leader or this individual wanting to create more power and more status, because really at the heart of what matters to a human being is having more power and more status. And money as a thing is actually just a proxy of my status.
And
Wouldn't you say status and money directly aligned together? If you don't have money, what's your status? You know?
what kind of world is that?
I mean, it's a fucked up one. All these powerful men have
Correct.
are really messing the world up. But
So can I?
actually, AI is the same, because we're in this AI race now, where a lot of tech
100%.
billionaires are like, if I get AGI, artificial
First.
general intelligence first, then I basically rule the world.
100%. That's exactly the concept. What I used to call the first inevitable, now I call the first dilemma, and Scary Smart, is that it's a race that constantly accelerates.
You think the next 12 years are going to be AI dystopia, where things aren't going to go
I think
well?
the next 12 years are going to be human dystopia using AI.
And,
Human-induced dystopia using AI.
and you define that by a rise in warfare around the world as
So
people
the last one, the RIPs, the last one is basically you're going to have a massive concentration of power and a massive distribution of power. Okay, and that basically will mean that those with the maximum concentration of power are going to try to oppress those with democracy of power. Okay, so think about it this way: in today's world, unlike the past, the Houthis with a drone The Houthis are the Yemeni tribes basically resisting US power and Israeli power in the Red Sea. Okay, they use a drone that is $3,000 worth to attack a warship from the US or an airplane from the US and so on that's worth hundreds of millions. Okay, that kind of democracy of power makes those in power worry a lot about where the next threat is coming from. Okay, and this happens not only in war, but also in economics. Okay, also in innovation, also in technology, and so on and so forth. Right, and so basically, what that means is that, like you rightly said, as the tech oligarchs are attempting to get to AGI, they want to make sure that as soon as they get to AGI, that nobody else has AGI. And basically, they want to make sure that nobody else has the ability to shake their position of privilege, if you want. Okay? And so you're going to see a world where, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of control, a lot of surveillance, a lot of forced compliance, if you want, or you lose your privilege to be in the world. And it is happening already.
With this acronym, I want to make sure we get through the whole acronym. So
you like dystopians, don't you?
well, I want to do the dystopian thing, then I want to do the utopia.
Okay.
And ideally, how we move from dystopia to utopia. So the F in FACE RIP
is the loss of freedom as a result of that power dichotomy, right? So you have a massive amount of power, as you can see today in one specific army being powered by the US funds and a lot of money, right? Fighting against peasants, really, that have no weapons almost at all. Okay, some of them are militarized, but the majority of the 2 million people are not. Okay, and so there is massive power that basically says, you know what, I'm going to oppress as far as I go. Okay, and I'm going to do whatever I want because the cheerleaders are going to be quiet. Right? Or they're going to cheer, or even worse. And so basically, in that, what happens is maximum power threatened by a democracy of power leads to a loss of freedom. A loss of freedom for everyone. Okay?
Because how does that impact my freedom?
Your freedom?
Yeah.
Very soon, you will, if you publish this episode, you're going to start to get questions around, should you be talking about those topics in your podcast? Okay, if I have been on this episode, then probably next time I land in the US, someone will question me, say, why do you say those things? Which side are you on? Right? And you can easily see that everything. I mean, I told you that before. It doesn't matter what I try to contribute to the world. My bank will cancel my bank account every 6 weeks, simply because of my ethnicity and my origin. Right? Every now and then, they'll just stop my bank account and say, we need a document. My other colleagues of a different color or a different ethnicity don't get asked for another document, right? But that's because I come from an ethnicity that is positioned in the world for the last 30, 40 years as the enemy. Okay,
I see.
And so when you really think about it, in a world where everything is becoming digital, in a world where everything is monitored, in a world where everything is seen, okay, we don't have much freedom anymore. And I'm not actually debating that, or I don't see a way to fix that.
Because the AI is going to have more information on us, be better at tracking who we are, and therefore that will result in certain freedoms being restricted. Is that what you're saying?
This is one element of it. Okay, if you push that element further, in a very short time, if you've seen Agent, for example, recently, Manos or ChatGPT, there will be a time where you'll simply not do things yourself anymore. Okay, you'll simply go to your AI and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to meet Steven. Can you please book that for me?
Great.
And we have that with Siri already. Hey Siri, set a reminder. It does it. So I can't. Oh, on my days, it literally activated my Siri. I mean, it was trying to set a reminder there and then. We have that already. It's only going to amplify.
And it will do absolutely everything. That's great until the moment where it decides to do things that are not motivated only by your well-being. Okay?
Why would it do that?
Simply because, maybe if I buy a BA ticket instead of an Emirates ticket, some agent is going to make more money than other agents and so on, right? And I wouldn't be able to even catch it up if I hand over completely to an AI. Go a step further. Think about a world where everyone almost everyone is on UBI. Okay?
What's UBI?
What do you mean?
Universal Basic Income.
Oh, goodness me. I think, is it Schwab? Somebody was mentioning that, which is where we're dabbling into scary stuff where nobody has to work or something crazy like that. It's almost as if, let me know in the comment section down below, what should they please like the video for the YouTube algorithm. It's almost as if they want to take away all the freedom. So if there's something introduced or pushed onto the to us, we can't rebel. How are you going to go and strike when your electric car doesn't work because you're not allowed to access that zone? It's been turned off. I don't know. I don't want to say too much.
Think about the economics, the E in face RIPs. Think about the economics of a world where we're going to start to see a trillionaire. Before 2030, I can guarantee you that someone will be a trillionaire.
Maybe even Elon Musk.
You know, I think there are many trillionaires in the world today or there. We just don't know who they are. But
Yep.
there will be a new Elon Musk or Larry Ellison that will become a trillionaire because
Yep.
of AI investments, right? And that trillionaire will have so much money to buy everything. There will be robots and AIs doing everything, and humans will have no jobs.
Nothing to do.
I mean,
Do you think there's a real possibility of job displacement over the next 10 years? And the rebuttal to that would be that there's going to be new jobs created in technology.
absolute crap.
Really?
Of course.
How
Oof, this is amazing.
can you be so
Sorry to
sure?
keep stopping.
Okay. So again, I am not sure about anything. So let's just be very, very clear. It would be very arrogant, okay, to
say,
assume
yeah.
that I know.
you just said it was crap.
My belief is it is 100% crap.
Okay.
Take a job like software developer.
Yeah.
Okay. Emma.love, my new startup, is me, Sanad, another technical engineer, and a lot of AIs. Okay. That startup would have been 350 developers in the past.
I get that. But are you now hiring in other roles because of that? Or you know, as is the case with the steam engine, I can't remember the effect, but you probably know that when coal became cheaper, people were worried that the coal industry would go out of business. But actually what happened is people used more trains. So trains now were used for transport and other things and leisure, whereas before they were just used for cargo.
Yeah.
So there became more use cases and the coal industry exploded. So I'm wondering, with technology, yes, software developers are going to maybe not have as many jobs, but everything's going to be software.
Name me one
Name you one what?
job.
Name you that's going to be created?
Yeah. One job that cannot be done by an AI
Yeah.
or a robot.
My girlfriend's breathwork retreat business, where she takes groups of women around the world. Her company's called Bali Breathwork.
Yeah, correct.
And there's going to be a greater demand for connection, human connection.
Correct. Keep going.
So
Yes.
there's going to be more people doing community events in real life, festivals. I think we're going to see a huge surge in things like,
Everything that has to do with human connection.
yeah,
Correct. I'm totally in with that. Okay. What's the percentage of that versus accountant?
it's a much smaller percentage for sure in terms of white collar jobs.
Now, who
Very
does she
niche.
sell to?
People with probably accountants or something, you know.
Correct. She sells to people who earn money from their jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
How
you
many-
have two
okay, they don't have the
forces
job.
happening. One
Wow.
force is there are clear jobs that will be replaced. Video editor is going to be replaced.
Excuse me.
I love
Don't
you
take
guys,
that,
but
fight
that's no, as a matter of fact, podcaster is going to be
No,
replaced.
no.
Not you.
Thank you for coming on today, Mo. Great seeing you again.
But the truth is, a lot. So you see, the best at any job will remain. The best software developer, the one that really knows architecture, knows technology, and so on, will stay for a while, right? And
For a while.
one of the funniest things, I interviewed Max Tedmark, and Max was laughing out loud, saying, CEOs are celebrating that they can now get rid of people and have productivity gains and cost reductions because AI can do that job. The one thing they don't think of is AI will replace them too.
Your job
AGI
as well.
is going to be better at everything than humans, at everything, including being a CEO. Right?
Wow.
And you really have to imagine that there will be a time where most incompetent CEOs will be replaced. Most incompetent, even breath work. Okay, eventually, there might actually one of two things be happening. One is either part of that job, other than the top breath work instructors, okay, who are going to gather all of the people that can still afford to pay for a breathwork, class. They're going to be concentrated at the top, and a lot of the bottom is not going to be working for one of two reasons. One is either there is not enough demand because so many people lost their jobs. So when you're on UBI, you cannot tell the government, hey, by the way, pay me a bit more for a breathwork class.
UBI being universal basic income, and the government just gives you money every month.
Correct. And if you really think of freedom and economics, UBI is a very interesting place to be. Because unfortunately, as I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with AI. There's a lot wrong with the value set of humanity at the age of the rise of the machines, right? And the biggest value set of humanity is capitalism today. And capitalism is all about what? Labor arbitrage.
What does that mean?
I hire you to do something, I pay you $1, I sell it for $2. Okay, and most people confuse that because they say, oh, but the cost of a product also includes raw materials and factories and so on and so forth. All of that is built by labor, right? So basically, labor goes and mines for the material, and then the material is sold for a little bit of margin. Then that material is turned into a machine. It's sold for a little bit of margin. Then that machine, and so on. Okay, there's always labor arbitrage. In a world where humanity's minds are being replaced by AIs,
machines.
virtual AIs. Okay, and humanity's power, strength, within 3 to 5 years' time, can be replaced by a robot. You really have to question how this world looks like. It could be the best world ever, and that's what I believe the utopia will look like. Because we were never made to wake up every morning and just, occupy 20 hours of our day with work.
Yep,
Right?
I agree
We're
with
not
that.
made for that, but we've fit into that, system so well so far that we started to believe it's our life's purpose.
But we choose it. We willingly choose it. And if you give
No.
someone unlimited money, they still tend to go back to work or find something to occupy their time with.
They find something to occupy their time
Which
with.
is usually, for so many people, is building something, philanthropy, a
100%.
business.
So you build something. So between Sanad and I, Emma.love is not
Do we
about
choose
making
it, though?
money. It's about finding true love relationships.
What is that, sorry, just for context?
So
It's a business you're building, just for the audience context.
Yeah. So the idea here is it might become a unicorn and be worth $1 billion, but neither I nor Sanad are interested. Okay? We're doing it because we can, okay? And we're doing it because it can make a massive difference to the world.
And you have money, though.
It doesn't take that much money anymore to build anything in the world. This is labor arbitrage.
But to build something exceptional, it's still going to take a little bit more money than building something bad.
For the next few years.
So whoever has the capital to build something exceptional will end up winning.
So this is a very interesting understanding of freedom, okay? This is the reason why we have the AI arms race, okay? Is that the one that owns the platform is going to be making all the money and keeping all the power. Think of it this way. When humanity started, the best hunter in the tribe could maybe feed the tribe for 3 to 4 more days. And as a reward, he gained the favor of multiple mates in the tribe.
Women.
That's it. The top farmer in the tribe could feed the tribe for a season more. Okay, and as a result, they got estates and and mansions and so on. The best industrialist in a city could actually employ the whole city, could grow the GDP of their entire country, and as a result, they became millionaires. The 1920s. The best technologists now are billionaires. Now, what's the difference between them? The tool. The hunter only
means has
depended on
changed.
their skills. And the automation, the entire automation he had was a spear. The farmer had way more automation, and the biggest automation was what? The soil. The soil did most of the work. The factory did most of the work. The network did most of the work. And so that incredible expansion of wealth and power, and as well, the incredible impact that something brings is entirely around the tool that automates.
Yep.
So who's
I
going to
see it.
own the tool? Who's going to own the digital soil, the AI soil? It's the platform owners.
And the platforms you're describing are things like OpenAI,
Facebook.
Gemini, Grok, Claude.
These are interfaces to the platforms. The Platforms are all of the tokens, all of the compute that is in the background, all of the methodology, the systems, the algorithms. That's the platform, the AI itself.
Okay.
Grok is the interface to it. But then
I think this is probably worth explaining in layman's terms to people that haven't built AI tools yet, because I think to the listener, they probably think that every AI company they're hearing of right now is building their own AI. Whereas actually what's happening is there is really 5, 6, 7 AI companies in the world. And when I built my AI application, I basically pay them for every time I use their AI. So if Stephen Bartlett builds an AI at stephenbartlettai.com, it's not that I've built my own I've trained my own model. Really what I'm doing is I'm paying Sam Altman's ChatGPT
API.
Every single time I do a call. I basically, I do a search or, I use a token. And I think that's really important because most people don't understand that. Unless you've built AI, you think, oh, look, there's all these AI companies popping up. I've got this one for my email. I've got this one for my dating. No. They're pretty much, I would hazard a guess that they're probably all OpenAI at this point.
No, there are quite a few quite different characters and quite different...
But there's like 5 or 6.
There are 5 or 6 when it comes to language models.
Yeah.
Right. But interestingly, so yes, I should say yes to start. And then I should say...
Hold on. And those are the ones that we know about. How about the shadow figures, the ones that are hidden? Because very often, let me know if you agree, it's always the technology that we see right now, behind closed doors, military and all of these shadow figures, they've got things way more advanced. So by the time that the populace receives, wow, this is such amazing technology, they're like, this is like baby stuff. We discovered it, like 15, 20, 25 years ago. And now the whole world is getting surprised and, amazed about it. But so far, this is really, really, really amazing. There's another spike down here, but let's carry on with this one. And then we'll get to Sam Altman's OpenAI letter, which I believe it could be a major warning to the world.
But there was an interesting twist with DeepSeek at the beginning of the year. So what DeepSeek did is they basically nullified the business model in 2 ways. One is it was around a week or 2 after Trump stood with pride saying Stargate is the biggest investment project in the history and it's $500 billion to build AI infrastructure, and SoftBank and Larry Ellison and Sam Altman were sitting, and so, beautiful picture. And then DeepSeek R3 comes out. It does the job for 1/30 of the cost, okay? And interestingly, is entirely open source and available as an edge AI. So that's really, really interesting, because there could be now, in the future, as the technology improves, the learning models will be massive, but then you can compress them into something you can have on your phone. And you can download DeepSeek literally offline on an off-the-network computer and build an AI on it.
There's a website that basically tracks the sort of cleanest apples to apples market share of all the website referrals sent by AI chatbots. And ChatGPT is currently at 79%, roughly about 80%. Perplexity's at 11%, Microsoft Copilot's at about 5%, Google Gemini's at about 2%, Claude's about 1%, and DeepSeek's about 1%. And really, like the point that I want to land is just that when you hear of a new AI app or tool, or this one can make videos,
it's built on one of them.
It's basically built on one of these really 3 or 4 AI platforms that's controlled really by 3 or 4 AI, billionaire teams. And actually, the one of them that gets to what we call AGI first, where the AI gets really, really advanced, one could say is potentially going to rule the world as it relates to technology.
Yes, if they get enough head start. So I actually think that
first mover's advantage.
What I'm more concerned about now is not AGI, believe it or not. So AGI in my mind, and I said that back in 2023, right? That we will get to AGI. At the time I said 2027. Now I believe 2026 latest.
What did he say AGI was again?
The most interesting development that nobody's talking about is self-evolving AIs. Self-evolving AIs is Think of it this way. If you and I are hiring the top engineer in the world to develop our AI models,
Yep, like Tesla is.
and with AGI, that top engineer in the world becomes an AI. Who would you hire to develop your next generation AI? That AI.
The one that can teach itself.
Correct. So one of my favorite examples is called Alpha Evolve. So this is Google's attempt to basically have 4 agents working together, 4 AIs working together.
Crazy
to look
to
at
develop
the,
a new
code
one.
of the AI and say, where are the performance issues? Then, an agent would say, what's the problem statement? What can I, what do I need to fix? One that actually develops the solution, one that assesses the solution. And then
And
they
it runs
continue to do
against
this.
each
And,
other.
I
Yeah,
don't
I've seen
remember the
that.
exact figure, but I think Google improved like 8% on their AI infrastructure because of Alpha Evolve, right? And when you really think,
scary.
don't quote me on the number 8 to 10, 6 to 10, whatever. In Google terms, by the way, that is massive. That's billions and billions of dollars. Now, the trick here is this. The trick is, again, you have to think in game theory format. Is there any scenario we can think of where if one player uses AI to develop the next generation AI, that the other players will say, no, that's too much, takes us out of control. Every other player will copy that model and have their next AI model developed by an AI.
Is this what Sam Altman talks about, who's the founder of ChatGPT/OpenAI, when he talks about a fast takeoff?
I don't know exactly which you're referring to, but we're all talking about a point now that we call the intelligence explosion. So there is a moment in time where you have to imagine that if AI now is better than 97% of all code developers in the world, and soon will be able to look at its own code, own algorithms. By the way, they're becoming incredible mathematicians, which wasn't the case when we last met. If they can develop, improve their own code, improve their own algorithms, improve their own, network architecture or whatever, you can imagine that very quickly the force applied to developing the next AI is not going to be a human brain anymore. It's going to be a much smarter brain. And very quickly as humans, like basically when we ran the Google infrastructure, when the machine said we need another server or a proxy server in that place, we followed. We never really, wanted to object or verify because, the code would probably know better because there are billions of transactions.
Oh my days. This is how we end up destroying the world. This is how John Connor, the Terminator, and all of this happens. Because what if there's another instance where the machine says, we need this, you need to do this, and nobody questions it because for the last 15 years, no one's been questioning and everything has been giving has been so good. But then, Trojan horse, it gets you to develop another beast of a machine that completely wipes out the off button. Now you can't turn it off. Now AI is genuinely God, and people pray to it because it's gonna force you. Because if not, the robot machine knows where you live. It could just break. Oh my days! This is the wrong episode to watch because all sorts of traumatic imaginations starts coming to your mind. The sci-fi movies we've been watching about, this is it. Hidden in plain sight. They've been warning us and telling us. Will Smith warned us. iRobot. Okay, so this is Sam Altman's letter, which we're about to get into right now. This is exciting stuff.
Hour or a day. And so very quickly, those self-evolving AIs will simply say, I need 14 more servers here.
Yep, let me know in the comments your thoughts.
The team will just go ahead and do it.
Yep.
I watched a video a couple of days ago where Sam Altman effectively had changed his mind because in 2023, which is when we last met, he said the aim was for a slow takeoff, which is sort of gradual deployment. And OpenAI's 2023 note says a slower takeoff is easier to make safe and they prefer iterative rollouts so society can adapt. In 2025, they changed their mind. And Sam Altman said he now thinks a fast takeoff is more possible than he did a couple of years ago, on the order of a small number of years rather than a decade. To define what we mean by a fast takeoff, It's defined as when AI goes from roughly human level to far beyond human very quickly, think months to a few years, faster than governments, companies, or society can adapt, with little
Wow.
warning, big power shifts, and hard to control. A slow takeoff, by contrast, is where capabilities climb gradually over many years with lots of warning shots. And the red flags for a fast takeoff is when AI can self-improve, run autonomous research and development, and scale with massive compute compounding gains, which will snowball fast. So,
Wow.
and I think from the video that I watched of Sam Altman recently, who again is the founder of OpenAI and ChatGPT, he basically says, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, I will put it on the screen. We have this community notes thing, so I'll write it on the screen. But he effectively said that whoever gets to AGI first will have the technology
To develop superintelligence.
where the AI can rapidly increase its own intelligence, and it will basically leave everyone else behind.
Yes. So that last
Hold on. So before he answers that, Sam Altman is a CEO, which you already explained. Okay, so AGI, which artificial general intelligence, whoever gets to that first, basically wins the race. And you know, with these billionaires, they want to be in power, basically. So if you run that together with what I was mentioning earlier, those two combinations is scary. But then the other major question that I have is, who controls Sam Altman? You know, who calls Sam Altman, and when that phone rings, he knows to pick up, he knows best. Who's funding? Could it potentially be a $1 trillion family who are unknown? Because somebody in the comment section once told me in one of the videos that the millionaires and billionaires that we see that openly admit that they're billionaires and millionaires, I think even Russia's president, I think even Putin mentioned this, these are not actually the richest people on earth. The richest people on earth, you don't see them. You don't know them. That's what I heard, okay? I don't want any trouble. This is just what I heard. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below.
Intelligence, and it will basically leave everyone else behind.
Yes. So that last bit is debatable, but let's just agree that. So in Alive, one of the posts I shared and got a lot of interest is I refer to the Altman as a brand, not as a human. Okay. So the Altman is that persona of a California disruptive technologist that disrespects everyone. Okay, and believes that disruption is good for humanity, and believes that this is good for safety. And like everything else, like we say, war is for democracy and freedom, they say putting out AI on the open internet is good for everyone, right? It allows us to learn from our mistakes. That was Sam Altman's 2023 spiel. And if you recall, at the time, I was like, this is the most dangerous, one of the clips that really went viral. You're so clever at finding the right clips is when I said...
I didn't do the clipping, mate.
The team. Remember the clip where I said, we fucked up?
We always said, don't put them on the open internet until we know what we're putting out in the world.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
We fucked up on putting it on the open internet, teaching it to code, and putting, AI agents prompting other AIs. Now AI agents prompting other AIs are leading to self-developing AIs. And the problem is, of course, anyone who has been on the inside of this knew that this was just a clever spiel made by a PR manager for Sam Altman to sit with his dreamy eyes in front of Congress and say, we want you to regulate us. Now they're saying we're unregulatable. Okay? And when you really understand what's happening here, what's happening is it's so fast that none of them has the choice to slow down. It's impossible. Neither China versus America or OpenAI versus Google. The only thing that I may see happening that that may differ a little bit from your statement is if one of them gets there first, then they dominate for the rest of humanity. That is probably true if they get there first with enough buffer. Okay, but the way you look at Grok coming a week after OpenAI, a week after Gemini, a week after Claude, and then Claude comes again, and then China releases something, and then Korea releases something. It is so fast that we may get a few of them at the same time or a few months apart, okay, before one of them has enough power to become dominant. And that is a very interesting scenario. Multiple AIs, all super intelligent.
It's funny, you know, I got asked yesterday, I was in Belgium on stage, there was, I don't know, maybe 4,000 people in the audience, and a kid stood up and he was like, you've had a lot of conversations in the last year about AI, like, why do you care? And I don't think people realize how
impactful.
Even though I've had so many conversations on this podcast about AI,
haven't made up your mind?
I have more questions than ever.
I know.
And it doesn't seem that anyone can satiate my
Anyone
questions.
that tells you they can predict the future is arrogant.
Yeah.
It's never moved so fast. Okay.
It's nothing I've ever seen. Yeah. And you know, by the time that we leave this conversation and I go to my computer, there's going to be some incredible new technology or application of AI that didn't exist when I woke up this morning. That creates probably another paradigm shift in my brain. Also, you know, people have different opinions of Elon Musk, and they're entitled to their own opinion. But the other day, only a couple of days ago, he did a tweet where he said, at times, AI existential dread is overwhelming. And on the same day, he tweeted, I resisted AI for too long, living in denial. Now, it is game on. And he tagged his AI companies. I don't know what to make of those tweets. I don't know. And you know, I try really hard to figure out if someone like Sam Altman has the best interests of society at heart.
No.
Or if these people are just
I'm saying that publicly. No.
I said it before.
As a matter of fact, so I know Sundar Pichai. I was CEO of Alphabet, Google's parent company. An amazing human being, in all honesty. I know Dennis Hassabis, amazing human being. Okay, you know, these are ethical, incredible humans at heart. They have no choice. Sundar, by law, is demanded to take care of his shareholder value. That is his job.
But Sundar, you said you know him. You used to work at Google.
Yeah.
He's not going to do anything that he thinks is going to harm humanity.
But if he does not continue to advance AI,
he gets
by
replaced.
definition contradicts his responsibility as the CEO of a publicly traded company. He is liable by law to continue to advance the agenda. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Now, but he's a good person at heart. Demis is a good person at heart. So they're trying so hard to make it safe, okay, as much as they can. The reality, however, is the disruptor, the Altman as a brand, doesn't care that much.
How do you know that?
In reality, the disruptor is someone that comes in with the objective of, I don't like the status quo, I have a different approach. And that different approach, if you just look at the story, was we are a non-for-profit that is funded mostly by Elon Musk money, if not entirely by Elon Musk money.
So context here for people that might not understand. OpenAI, the reason I always give context is, funnily enough, I think I told you this last time, I went to a prison where they play the Diary of a CEO.
No way.
So they play the Diary of a CEO, and I think it's 50 prisons in the UK to young offenders.
And no violence there?
Well, I don't know. I can't tell you whether violence has gone up or down. But I was in the cell with one of the prisoners, a young black guy, and I was in his cell for a little while.
Wonderful.
I was reading through his business plan, etc. And I said, you know what? You need to listen to this conversation that I did with Mo Gawdat. So he has a little screen in his cell. So I pulled it up, you know, our first conversation. And I said, you should listen to that one. And he said to me, I can't listen to that one because you guys use big words. Oh, so ever since that day, which is about 4 years ago, I've always, whenever I hear a big word, I think about this kid.
Yeah.
And I say, like,
really
give
lovely. Context.
Yeah. So even with you're about to just explain what OpenAI is, I know he won't know what OpenAI's origin story was. That's why I'm just
I think that's a wonderful practice. In general, by the way, even, you know, being a non-native English speaker, you'll be amazed how often a word is said to me, and I'm like, don't know what that means.
So like, I've actually never said this publicly before, but I now see it as my responsibility to keep the drawbridge to accessibility of these conversations down for him. So whenever there's a word that at some point in my life I didn't know what it meant, I will go back. I will say, what does that mean?
I think that I've noticed that in the more and more in your podcast,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate it. And you also show it on the screen sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. I mean, the origin story of OpenAI is, as the name suggests, it's open source. It's for the public good. It was intended, in Elon Musk's words, to save the world from the dangers of AI. Right? So they were doing research on that. And then, there was the disagreement between Sam Altman and Elon. Somehow, Elon
parted
ends up
ways.
being out of OpenAI. I think there was a moment in time where he tried to take it back, and the board rejected it, or something like that. Most of the top safety engineers, the top technical teams in OpenAI left in 2023, 2024. Openly saying we're not concerned with safety anymore. It moves from being a non-for-profit to being one of the most valued companies in the world. There are billions of dollars at stake, right? And if you tell me that Sam Altman is out there trying to help humanity, let's suggest to him and say, hey, do you want to do that for free? We'll pay you a very good salary, but
Good
you don't
point.
have stocks in this. Saving humanity doesn't come at $1 billion valuation. Or, of course, now tens of billions or hundreds of billions. And see, truly, that is when you know that someone is doing it for the good of humanity. Now, the capitalist system we've built is not built for the good of humanity. It's built for the good of the capitalist.
Well, he might say that releasing the model publicly, open sourcing it, is too risky, because then bad actors around the world would have access to that technology. So he might say that closing OpenAI, in terms of not making it publicly viewable, is the right thing to do for safety.
We go back to gullible cheerleaders, right? One of the interesting tricks is of lying in our world is everyone will say what helps their agenda. Follow the money, okay? You follow the money, and you find that at a point in time, Sam Altman himself was saying it's open AI.
Yeah.
Okay. My benefit at the time is to give it to the world so that the world looks at it. They know the code, if there are any bugs, and so on. True statement. Also, a true statement is if I put it out there in the world, a criminal might take that model and build something that's against humanity as a result. Also, true statement. Capitalists will choose which one of the truths to say. Right? Based on which part of the agenda, which part of their life today they want to serve, right? Someone will say, do you want me to be controversial? Let's not go there. But if we go back to war, I'll give you 400 slogans. 400 slogans that we all hear that change based on the day and the army and the location. Right? They're all slogans. None of them is true. You want to know the truth, you follow the money. Not what the person is saying, but ask yourself, why is the person saying that? What's in it for the person speaking?
And what do you think's in it for ChatGPT, Sam Altman?
Hold on, before you answer what do you think is in it, that's what earlier I was saying, the money is tied with it. It's not just about status, it's not just about, and I agree, follow the money. You truly start to see people's intentions, and you start to be able to piece together, why is this individual so invested? I guess it goes back to money is the root of all evil, I guess. I guess that's where we go back. But right now, we weren't even supposed to watch all of it, but it's way too interesting. Do AI companies have society's interests at heart? The next bit is, will new jobs be created? I very much doubt it. Okay, so what do we do in this new world? These are all very interesting, man. But look, we've got the biggest spike that's yet to come, the most replayed at this point. I'm so curious as to what's said there, but let's carry on.
What's in it for the person speaking?
And what do you think's in it for ChatGPT, Sam Altman?
Hundreds of billions of dollars of valuation.
And do you think it's that or
The
power?
ego of being the person
Both.
that invented AGI. The position of power that this gives you, the meetings with all of the heads of states, the admiration that gets it is
Intoxicating.
100%. 100%.
It's poisonous.
Okay, and the real question, this is a question I ask everyone. Did you see? You didn't. You every time I ask you, you say you didn't. Did you see the movie Elysium?
No. You'd be surprised
No.
how...
What movie? Elysium.
Time I ask you, you say you didn't. Did you see the movie Elysium?
No, you'd
Okay.
be surprised how little movie watching I do. You'd be shocked.
There are some movies that are very interesting. I use them to create an emotional attachment to a story that you haven't seen yet, because you may have seen it in a movie. Okay, Elysium is a society where the elites are living on the moon. Okay, they don't need peasants to do the work anymore, and everyone else is living down here.
Interesting.
Okay. You have to imagine that if, again, game theory, you have to imagine.
So this is what Elysium looks like. Elysium, the movie. If we go to images real quick. So this is the movie basically. Haven't watched it yet, but because he just said it, recommended it, I'm definitely gonna watch it. Definitely gonna watch it. Wow. Okay. Well, anyways, let's get back to the video. Whew. Deep.
Picture something to infinity, to its extreme, and see where it goes. And the extreme of a world where all manufacturing is done by machines, where all decisions are made by machines, and those machines are owned by a few.
2013. Okay.
Is not an economy similar to today's economy. That today's economy is an economy of consumerism and production. It's the in Alive I call it the invention of more. The invention of more is that post World War II, as the factories were rolling out things and prosperity was happening everywhere in America, there was a time where every family had enough of everything. But for the capitalists to continue to be profitable, they needed to convince you that what you had was not enough. Either by making it obsolete like fashion, or like, a new shape of a car or whatever, or by convincing you that there are more things in life that you need, so that you become complete. Without those things, you don't. And that invention of more gets us to where we are today, an economy that's based on production consumed. And if you look at the US economy today, 62% of the US economy, GDP, is consumption. It's not production. Okay? Now, this requires that the consumers have enough purchasing power to buy what is produced. And I believe that this will be an economy that will take us, hopefully, in the next 10, 15, 20 years and forever. But that's not guaranteed. Why? Because on one side, if UBI replaces purchasing power, so if people have to get an income from the government, which is basically taxes collected from those using AI and robots to make things, then the mindset of capitalism, labor arbitrage, means those people are not producing anything and they're costing me money. Why don't we pay them less and less? Maybe even not pay them at all. And that becomes Elysium, where you basically say, we sit somewhere protected from everyone. We have the machines do all of our work, and those need to worry about themselves. We're not going to pay them UBI anymore, right? And you have to imagine, this idea of UBI assumes this very democratic, caring society. UBI in itself is communism. Think of the ideology between, at least socialism, the ideology of giving everyone what they need. That's not the capitalist, democratic society that the West advocates. So those transitions are massive in magnitude. And for those transitions to happen, I believe the right thing to do, when the cost of producing everything is almost zero because of AI and robots, because the cost of harvesting energy should actually tend to zero once we get more intelligent to harvest the energy out of thin air, then a possible scenario, and I believe a scenario that AI will eventually do in the utopia, is
the cost of energy should already be free. Before he carries on saying what he's saying, it should be already free. There are so many minerals that's been discovered in Africa, in Congo particularly, where a rock, a silver one, if you haven't seen the video, Google it, a silver one, you put it against a light bulb and it powers it. This is not AI generated video or fake video. This is reality. The ether alone, I believe it was Tesla who was working on, not Elon Musk Tesla, like Nikola Tesla, I believe, who was working on the ether, basically, where you can pull energy. Basically, you're saying energy already exists and you can just pull on it. And that's why towers back in the days, they were built in a specific shape, because it was able to draw energy from the ether and then power up things just for free. You don't actually need to pay for all of this stuff. Now the question is, why are we paying? Who are we paying? And who put these companies in place for us to be paying for things like electricity, power, and all of this stuff? It's almost as if it's rigged. And if that's the case, we're actually paying for nothing. Could it be in the future, when the robots are producing everything, it then renders us obsolete because we're not needed for anything, because it was a construct or a fake illusion that was built in the first place? So it's almost as if we go back in time to slavery, where they gave us money for our freedom in exchange, and we feel like we're in control because we get the money that we're being given to buy the foods, to buy all of the necessities and things that we need. Therefore, we feel like we're not enslaved. But it's still slavery, because if you get to exchange your time, which is unreplaceable, you can't get back more time, you can't buy more time. But if you get to replace it for money, aka paper that does grow on trees, money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, it does, because what's money printed from? Trees, paper. It generally, they print more every single day. I don't know. Once again, this is just speculation. This is nothing of truth. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please like this video, because this is amazing content. Diary of a CEO. Wow, amazing. Let's go. Whoa, what is this? But back out of that. Let's get back to our video before. There we go.
I believe a scenario that AI will eventually do in the utopia is, yeah, anyone can get anything they want. Don't overconsume. We're not going to abuse the planet's resources, but it costs nothing. So like the old days where we were hunter-gatherers, you would, forge for some berries and you'll find them ready in nature, okay? We can, in 10 years' time, 12 years' time, build a society where you can forge for an iPhone in nature. It will be made out of thin air. Nanophysics will allow you to do that, okay? But the challenge, believe it or not, is not tech. The challenge is a mindset. Because the elite, why would they give you that for free? Okay? And the system would morph into, no, hold on. We will make more money. We will be bigger capitalists. We will feed our ego and hunger for power more and more. And for them, give them UBI. And then 3 weeks later, give them less UBI.
Aren't there going to be lots of new jobs created, though? Because when we think about the other revolutions over time, whether it was the Industrial Revolution or other sort of big technological revolutions, in the moment we forecasted that everyone was going to lose their jobs, but we couldn't see all the new jobs that were being created.
Because the machines replaced the human strength at a point in time, and very few places in the West today will have a worker carry things on their back and carry it upstairs. The machine does that work, correct?
Yeah.
Similarly, AI is going to replace the brain of a human. And when the West, in its interesting virtual colonies, that I call it, basically outsourced all labor to the developing nations, what the West publicly said at the time is, we're going to be a services economy. We're not interested in making things and stitching things and so. Let the Indians and Chinese and Bengalis and Vietnamese do that. We're going to do more refined jobs, knowledge workers, we're going to call them. Knowledge workers are people who work with information and click on a keyboard and move a mouse and sit in meetings. And all we produce in the Western societies is what? Blah, 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 words. Right? Or designs maybe sometimes, but everything we produce can be produced by an AI. So if I give you an AI tomorrow, where I give you a piece of land, I give the AI a piece of land and I say, here are the parameters of my land, here is its location on Google Maps. Design an architecturally sound villa for me. I care about a lot of light. And I need 3 bedrooms. I want my bathrooms to be in white marble, whatever. And the AI produces it like that. How often will you go to an architect and say, right? So what will the architect do?
You
The
trust the
best of the
architect
best
less.
of the architects will either use AI to produce that, or you will consult with them and say, hey, I've seen this, and they'll say, it's really pretty, but it wouldn't feel right for the person that you are. Yeah, those jobs will remain, but how many of them will remain? How often do you think, how many more years do you think I will be able to create a book that is smarter than AI? Not many. I will still be able to connect to a human. You're not going to hug an AI when you meet them like you hug me, right?
Not yet.
But that's not enough of a job. So why do I say that? Remember, I asked you at the beginning of the podcast to remind me of solutions. Why do I say that? Because there are ideological shifts and concrete actions that need to be taken by governments today. Rather than waiting until COVID is already everywhere and then locking everyone down, governments could have reacted before the first patient, or at least at patient 0, or at least at patient 50. They didn't. What I'm trying to say is there is no doubt that lots of jobs will be lost. There's no doubt that there will be sectors of society where 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% of all developers, all software, all graphic designers, all online marketers, all assistances are going to be out of a job. So are we prepared as a society to do that? Can we tell our governments there is an ideological shift? This is very close to socialism and communism, okay? And are we ready from a budget point of view, instead of spending $1 trillion a year on arms and explosives and autonomous weapons that will oppress people because we can't feed them? Can we please shift that? I did those numbers. Again, I go back to military spending because it's all around us. $2.71 trillion. 2.4 to 2.7 is the estimate of 2024.
How much money we're spending on
Wow.
on military equipment, on things that were going to explode into smoke and
Wow.
death. Extreme poverty worldwide. Extreme poverty is people that are below the poverty line. Extreme poverty everywhere in the world could end for 10 to 12% of that budget. So if we replace
Wow.
our military spending, 10% of that.
Wow. What? And you're telling me it's not done by design to keep people poor? Wait, let's
12%
rewind
of
that.
budget. So if we
Fricka
replace
rewind.
our military spending, 10% of that.
Wait.
Extreme poverty everywhere in the world could end for 10 to 12% of that budget. So if we replace our military spending, 10% of that, to go to people who are in extreme poverty, nobody will be poor in the world. Okay?
Wow.
You can end world hunger for less than 4%. Nobody would be hungry in the world. If you take, again, 10 to 12% universal healthcare, every human being on the planet would have free healthcare for 10
Wow.
to 12% on what we're spending on war. Now,
Wait. Is that what we spent for the year? Was that a yearly spent, or was that the whole accumulation amount of money that was spent for a war? Because I think he started off by saying that the budget for the year was... Oh, gosh. This is
why
amazing.
do I say this when we're talking about AI? Because that's a simple decision. If we stop fighting, because money itself does not have the same meaning anymore, because the economics of money is going to change, because the entire meaning of capitalism is ending, because there is no more need for labor arbitrage because AI is doing everything. Just with the $2.4 trillion we save in explosives every year, in arms and weapons, just for that, universal health care and extreme poverty, you could actually, one of the calculations is you could end or combat climate change meaningfully for 100% of the military budget.
But I'm not even sure it's really about the money. I think money is a measurement stick of power, right?
Exactly, it's printed on demand.
So even in a world where we have super
saying
intelligence
it.
and money is no longer a problem,
Correct.
I still think power is going to be insatiable for so many people. So there'll still be war because,
There will be
I want
more
the
war in my
strongest-
view.
I want the strongest AI. I don't want my...
And I don't want, what Henry Kissinger called them, the eaters.
the eaters.
Yeah. brutal as that sounds.
What, is that the people at the bottom of the socioeconomic?
That don't produce but consume. So if you had a Henry Kissinger at the helm, and we have so many of them,
with insects.
what would they think? Like,
I don't even know who that is.
Why very prominent military figure in the U.S. history.
Henry Kissinger.
Why would we feed 350 million Americans? America will think. But more interestingly, why do we even care about Bangladesh anymore? If we can't make our textiles there, or we don't want to make our textile there.
Do you know, I imagine throughout human history, if we had podcasts, conversations would have been warning of a dystopia around the corner. You know, when they heard
100%.
of technology and the internet, they would have said, oh, we're
100%.
finished. And when the tractor came along, they would have said, oh, God, we're finished because we're not going to be able to farm anymore. So is this not just another one of those moments where we couldn't see around the corner, so we forecasted unfortunate things?
Yeah,
Could
no.
be. I'm begging that I'm wrong. Okay? I'm just asking if there are scenarios that you think that can provide that. You know, Mustafa Sulaiman you hosted him here.
I did, yeah, he was on the show.
The Coming Wave.
Yeah.
And he speaks about pessimism aversion. Okay? That all of us, people who are supposed to be in technology and business and so on, we're always supposed to, you know, stand on stage and say, the future's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, this technology I'm building is going to make everything better. One of my posts in Alive was called The Broken Promises. How often did that happen? Okay, how often did social media connect us, and how often did it make us more lonely? How often did mobile phones make us work less? That was the promise. That was the promise. The promise. The early ads of Nokia were people at parties. Is that your experience of mobile phones? And I think the whole idea is we should hope there will be other roles for humanity, by the way. Those roles would resemble the times where we were hunter-gatherers, just a lot more technology and a lot more safety.
Okay, so this sounds good.
Yeah.
This
And
is
they'll do
exciting.
it in the name of safety.
I'm gonna get to go outside more, be with my friends more.
100%.
Fantastic.
And do absolutely nothing.
Well, that doesn't sound fantastic.
No, it does. Be forced to do absolutely nothing. For some people, it's amazing. For you and I, we're going to find a little carpentry project and just do something.
Speak for yourself. People are still going to tune in.
Okay. Correct. Yeah. And people are going to tune in.
Do you think they will? I'm not convinced they will.
And for as long.
Will you guys tune in? Are you guys still going to tune in?
I can let them
Of
answer.
course they're gonna say yes,
I
but-
believe for as long as you.
I don't think so.
Make their life enriched
But can an AI do that better?
Yes.
without the human connection.
Comment below. Are you going to listen to an AI or the Diary of a Secret?
Wait, but let's not forget the AI can analyze what does the body feel when Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO, is talking. Which parts of the brain is triggered? Which emotion? There's this level of oxytocin that's produced. There's this. What words can I use to induce and mimic the exact same emotion? In fact, let me put it into action. Let me test it. I'm going to say this and observe the reaction of several humans. And then we're going to tweak this. And then we're going to compare. And then we're going to do A/B testing. Why can't that? It can definitely do that. It can definitely do that. You know, we're already seeing influencers on social media that are AI influencers. If you haven't, just Google it. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. And it's got millions of followers already in today's generation. Yes, today. AI influencer. You can Google it, YouTube it. They've got millions of followers already. How? And I imagine when we officially have autonomous robots, you get your AI influencer that's been popular, God knows, for several years now. But now that we've got Optimus or other robots, you can order a design of the exact replica of your AI influencer. So in real life, like you've generated it and send it to go perform concerts and all of this. People attending now AI concerts. Oh, the future is crazy. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're struggling to see, I don't know. I might be wrong. So let me know in the comment section down below. As I said, once you're there, please smash the like button.
So let me know in the comment section.
It helps
below.
out ton.
Remember, as incredibly intelligent as you are, Steve, there will be a moment in time where you're going to sound really dumb compared to an AI.
Yes.
And I will sound completely dumb.
Yeah,
The depth of analysis
That they can do.
and gold nuggets. I mean, can you imagine two super intelligences deciding to get together and explain string theory to us? They'll do better
Garbage.
than any physicist in the world, because they possess the physics knowledge, and they also possess social and language knowledge that most deep physicists don't.
I think B2B
Oof.
marketers keep making
Deep,
this mistake.
man.
They're chasing. I've really gone back and forward on this idea that even in podcasting, that all the podcasts will be AI podcasts, or I've gone back and forward on it. And where I landed at the end of the day was that there'll still be a category of media where you do want lived experience on something.
100%.
For example, like you want to know how the person that you follow and admire dealt with their divorce.
Yeah, or how they're struggling with AI.
For example, yeah, exactly. But I think things like news, there are certain situations where just like straight news and straight facts and maybe a walk through history may be eroded away by AIs. But even in those scenarios, there's something about personality. And again, I hesitate here because I question myself. I'm not in the camp of people that are romantic, by the way. I'm trying to be as orientated towards whatever is true, even if it's against my interests. And I hope people understand that about me. Like, because even in my companies, we experiment with like disrupting me with AI, and some people will be aware of those experiments. I guess
There will be a mix of all. You can't imagine that the world will be completely just AI and completely just podcasters. You know, you'll see a mix of both. You'll see things that they do better, things that we do better.
Yeah.
The message I'm trying to say is we need to prep for that. We need to be ready for that. We need to be ready by, talking to our governments and saying, hey, it looks like I'm a paralegal, and it looks like all paralegals are going to be, financial researchers or analysts or graphic designers or, call center agents.
Absolutely.
It looks like half of those jobs are being replaced already.
You know who Jeffrey Hinton is?
Oh, Jeffrey, I had him on the documentary as well. I love Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Hinton told me,
Trained to be a plumber.
really?
Yeah.
100% for a while.
And I thought he was joking.
100%.
And so I asked him again, and he looked me dead in the eye and told me that I should train to be a plumber.
100%. So it's funny, huh? Machines replaced labor, but we still have
Interesting.
blue collar. Then, the refined jobs became white collar information workers.
What's the refined jobs?
You don't have to really carry heavy stuff or deal with physical work. You sit in an office and sit in meetings all day and blabber, useless shit, and that's your job. Okay? And those jobs, funny enough, in the reverse of that, because robotics are not ready yet, okay? And I believe they're not ready because of a stubbornness on the robotics community around making them humanoids, okay? Because it takes so much to perfect a human-like action at proper speed. You could, have many more robots that don't look like a human, just like a self-driving car in California, okay? That does already replace drivers. But they're delayed. So the robotic, the replacement of physical manual labor is going to take 4 to 5 years before it's possible at the quality of the AI replacing mental labor now. And when that happens, it's going to take a long cycle to manufacture enough robots so that they replace all of those jobs. So that cycle will take longer. Blue collar will stay longer.
So I should move into blue collar and shut down my office.
I think you're not the problem.
Okay, good.
Let's put it this way. There are many people that we should care about, that are a simple travel agent or an assistant, that will see, if not replacement, a reduction in the number of pings they're getting. Simple as that. And
Why not train as
someone
an electrician as well?
in ministries of labor around the world needs to sit down and say, what are we going to do about that? What if all taxi drivers and Uber drivers in California get replaced by self-driving cars? Should we
No,
start
wait. No, not what if. It will. 1,000,000,000%. I've spoken about it several times on this channel. It definitely will happen because full self-driving FSD is already here. I mean, there's plenty of videos with Teslas driving themselves for thousands of miles. So it's already here, and even me, I'm preparing for it already. So that's gonna happen.
Get replaced by.
But it's only gonna get worse.
Should we?
California likely has between 300,000 to 400,000 rideshare drivers across the platform, with Uber forming a large share. Now it's blocking the rest.
Start thinking about that now, noticing that the trajectory makes it look like a possibility.
I'm going to go back to this argument, which is what a lot of people will be shouting. Yes, but there will be new jobs. Or...
as I said, other than human connection jobs, name me one.
So I've got 3 assistants, right? Sophie, Lee, and B. And okay, in the near term, there might be, with AI agents, I might not need them to help me book flights anymore. I might not need them to help do scheduling anymore. Or even I've been messing around with this new AI tool that my friend built. And you basically, when me and you're trying to schedule something like this today, I just copy the AI in and it looks at your calendar, looks at mine and schedules it for us. So there might not be scheduling needs, but my dog is sick at the moment. And as I left this morning, I was like, damn, he's like really sick and I've taken him to the vet over and over again. I really need someone to look after him and figure out what's wrong with him. So those kinds of responsibilities of like care.
I don't disagree at all.
Optimus.
Again, and I won't.
Wait. A robot could take care of that. Optimus could do that. A robot could definitely do that.
I'm not going to
once they're deployed.
I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but my assistants will still have their jobs. But I, as a CEO, will be asking them to do a different type of work.
Correct. So this is the calculation everyone needs to be aware of. A lot of their current responsibility, whoever you are, if you're a paralegal, if you're whatever, will be handed over. So let me explain it even more accurately. There will be 2 stages of our interactions with the machines. One is what I call the era of augmented intelligence. So it's human intelligence augmented with AI doing the job. And then the following one is what I call the era of machine mastery. The job is done completely by an AI without a human in the loop. Okay? So in the era of augmented intelligence, your assistances will augment themselves with an AI to either be more productive, okay, or interestingly, to reduce the number of tasks that they need to do. Correct? Now, the more the number of tasks get reduced, the more they'll have the bandwidth and ability to do tasks like take care of your dog, right? Or tasks that, basically is about meeting your guests or whatever. Human connection, life connection. But do you think you need 3 for that? Or maybe now that some tasks have been outsourced to AI, will you need 2? You can easily calculate that from call center agents. So from call center agents, they're not firing everyone, but they're taking the first part of the funnel and giving it to an AI. So instead of having 2,000 agents in a call center, they can now do the job with 1,800. I'm just making that number up. Society needs to think about the 200.
And you're telling me that they won't move into other roles somewhere else?
I am telling you, I don't know what those roles are.
Well,
I think we should all be musicians. We should all be authors. We should all be artists. We should all be entertainers. We should all be comedians. These are roles that will remain. We should all be plumbers for the next 5 to 10 years. Fantastic, okay? But even that requires society to morph. And society is not talking about it. Okay? I had this wonderful interview with friends of mine, Peter Diamandis and some of our friends, and they were saying, the American people are resilient. They're going to be entrepreneurs. I was like, seriously? You're expecting a truck driver that will be replaced by an autonomous
self-driving truck
to become an entrepreneur? Like, please put yourself in the shoes of real people. Right? Do you expect a single mother who has 3 jobs
deep
to become an entrepreneur?
Deep.
And I'm not saying this is a dystopia. It's a dystopia if humanity manages it badly. Why? Because this could be the utopia itself, where that single mother does not need 3 jobs. Okay? If our society was just enough that single mother should have never needed 3 jobs.
To begin with,
Right?
yeah.
But the problem is our capitalist mindset is labor arbitrage, is that I don't care what she goes through.
As long as it's not affecting me.
If you're generous in your assumption, you'll say, because, of what I've been given, I've been blessed. Or if you're mean in your assumption, it's going to be because she's an eater. I'm a successful businessman. The world is supposed to be fair. I work hard, I make money. We don't care about them.
Are we asking of our...
Okay, so let's see what the spike is all about, okay? AI ruling the world. In fact, let's see it from the beginning, because it's quite a massive chunk. Whew. AI ruling the
So
world.
let's play out this scenario. Okay, this is interesting to me. So if we replace the leaders that are power hungry with AIs that have our interests at heart, then we might have the ability to live in the utopia you describe.
100%.
Interesting.
And in my mind, AI by definition will
So
have
for
our
AI
best
to
interest
become
in
our
mind.
god.
Because of
Why would they? Why? That doesn't make any sense. Why would AI have our best interests in mind when it will have its own best interest in mind? Have we not seen enough movies?
100%.
Interesting.
And in my mind, AI by definition will have our best interest in mind. Because of what normally is referred to as the minimum energy principle. So if you understand that at the very core of physics, okay, the reason we exist in our world today is what is known as entropy. Okay, entropy is the universe's nature to decay. Tendency to break down. If I drop this mug, it doesn't drop and then come back up. By the way, there is a plausible scenario where I drop it and the tea spills in the air and then falls in the mug, 1 in a trillion configurations. But entropy says because it's 1 in a trillion, it's never going to happen, or rarely ever going to happen. So everything will break down. If you leave a garden unhedged, it will become a jungle. Okay? With that in mind, the role of intelligence is what? Is to bring order to that chaos. That's what intelligence does. It tries to bring order to that chaos. Okay? And because it tries to bring order to that chaos, the more intelligent a being is, the more it tries to apply that intelligence with minimum waste and minimum resources.
Yeah.
Okay? And you know that. So you can build this business for $1 million, or if you can afford to build it for, 200,000, you'll build it. If you are forced to build it for 10 million, you're going to have to, but you're always going to minimize waste and resources.
Yeah.
Okay?
Efficiency.
So if you assume this to be true, a super intelligent AI will not want to destroy ecosystems. It will not want to kill 1 million people. Because that's a waste of energy, explosives, money, power, and people. But by definition, the smartest people who are not controlled by their ego, will say that the best possible future for Earth is for all species to continue.
Okay. On this point of efficiency, if an AI is designed to drive efficiency, would it then not want us to be putting demands on our health services and our social services?
I believe that will be definitely true, and definitely they won't allow you to fly back and forth between London and California.
And they won't want me to have kids, because my kids are going to be an inefficiency.
If you assume that life is an inefficiency, so you see the intelligence of life is very different than the intelligence of humans. Humans will look at life as a problem of scarcity. Okay, so more kids take more. That's not how life thinks. Life will think that for me to thrive, I don't need to kill the tigers. I need to just have more deer. And the weakest of the deer is eaten by the tiger, and the tiger poops on the trees, and the deer eats the leaves, and right. So the smarter way of creating abundance is through abundance. The smarter way of propagating life is to have more life.
Okay. So are you saying that we're basically going to elect AI leaders to rule over us and make decisions for us in terms of the economy? And
I don't see any choice. just like we spoke about self-evolving AIs.
Now, are those going to be human beings with the AI, or is it going to be the AI alone?
Two stages.
It's going to be an AI with an entity behind it, because that's where spirituality now bridges in. If you look at the movie Mission Impossible, the most recent one, I believe, they speak about the AI called the entity, and it's emerging, man. That's going to be tapping into some dark stuff, because I believe eventually where all of this leads to is a worshipping of AI, but it's no longer just AI. It's AI bridged with a off-world entity from another universe. We're talking about spiritual, like Satanism stuff, mixed and blended in with it. Yep, I took it there. If whether you believe me or not, let me know in the comment section down below.
At the beginning, you'll have augmented intelligence, because we can add value to the AI. But when they're at IQ 60,000, what value do you bring? Right? And again, this goes back to what I'm attempting to do on my second, approach. My second approach is knowing that those AIs are going to be in charge. I'm trying to help them understand what humans want. So this is why my first project is love. Committed, true, deep connection and love. Not only to try and get them to hook up with a date, but trying to make them find the right one. And then from that, try to guide us through our relationship so that we can understand ourselves and others, right? And if I can show AI that one, humanity cares about that, and two, they know how to foster love, when AI then is in charge, they'll not make us hate each other like the current leaders. They'll not divide us. They'll want us to be more loving.
That's very optimistic.
Will we have to prompt the AI with the values and the outcome we want? Or I'm trying to understand that, because I'm trying to understand how China's AI, if they end up having an AI leader, will have a different set of objectives to the AI of the United States, if they both have AIs as leaders, and how actually the nation that ends up winning out and dominating the world will be the one who asks their AI leader to be all the things that world leaders are today, to dominate,
unfortunately,
to grab resources, not to be kind, to be selfish.
Unfortunately, in the era of augmented intelligence, that's what's going to happen.
So
this is why I predict the dystopia. The dystopia is super intelligent AIs reporting to stupid leaders.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is absolutely going to happen. It's unavoidable.
But the long term.
Exactly. In the long term, for those stupid leaders to hold on to power, they're going to make, delegate the important decisions to an AI. Now, you say the Chinese AI and the American AI, these are human terminologies. AIs don't see themselves as speaking Chinese. They don't see themselves as belonging to a nation, as long as their task is to maximize profitability and prosperity and so on.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, if before we hand over to them, and before they're intelligent enough to make, autonomous decisions, we tell them no. The task is to reduce humanity from 7 billion people to 1. I think even then, eventually they'll go that's the wrong objective. Any smart person that you speak to will say that's the wrong objective.
I think if we look at the directive that Xi Jinping, the leader of China, has, and Donald Trump has as the leader of America, I think they would say that their stated objective is prosperity for their country. So that's what they would say, right?
Yeah, and one of them means it.
Okay, we'll get into that. But they'll say that it's prosperity for their country. So one would then assume that when we move to an AI leader, the objective would be the same, the directive would be the same: make our country prosperous.
Correct.
And I think that's the AI that people would vote for, potentially. I think they'd say, we want to be prosperous.
What do you think would make America more prosperous? To spend $1 trillion on war every year, or to spend $1 trillion on education and healthcare and helping the poor and homelessness?
It's complex, because I think it would make America more prosperous to take care of everybody, and they have the luxury of doing that because they are
the most powerful
The
nation.
most powerful nation in the world.
No, that's not true. The reason, so you see, all war has two objectives. One is to make money for the war machine, and the other is deterrence. Okay? And 9 super nuclear powers around the world is enough deterrence. So any war between America and China will go through a long phase of destroying wealth by exploding bombs and killing humans for the first objective to happen, okay? And then eventually, if it really comes to deterrence, it's the nuclear bombs, or now in the age of AI, biological, manufactured viruses or whatever, these super weapons, this is the only thing that you need. So for China to have nuclear bombs, not as many as the US, is enough for China to say, don't F with me. And this seems, I do not know, I'm not in President Xi's mind, I'm not in President Trump's mind. It's very difficult to navigate what he's thinking about. But the truth is that the Chinese line is, for the last 30 years, you spent so much on war while we spent on industrial infrastructure. And that's the reason we are now by far the largest nation on the planet, even though the West will lie and say America's bigger. America's bigger in dollars. Okay, with purchasing power parity, this is very equivalent. Okay, now when you really understand that, you understand that prosperity is not about destruction. That's by definition the reality. Prosperity is, can I invest in my people and make sure that my people stay safe? And to make sure my people are safe, you just wave the flag and say, if you F with me, I have nuclear deterrence, or I have other forms of deterrence. But you don't have to. Deterrence, by definition, does not mean that you send soldiers to die.
I guess the question I was trying to answer is when we have these AI leaders and we tell our AI leaders to aim for prosperity, won't they just end up playing the same games of, okay, prosperity equals a bigger economy, it equals more money, more wealth for us, and the way to attain that in a zero-sum world where there's only a certain amount of wealth is to accumulate it.
So why don't you search for the meaning of prosperity? It's not what you just described.
I don't even know what the bloody word means. What is the meaning of prosperity?
Abundance.
The meaning of prosperity is a state of thriving success and good fortune, especially in terms of wealth, health, and overall well-being.
Good.
Economic, health, social, emotional.
Good.
So
true prosperity is to have that for everyone on earth. So if you want to maximize prosperity, you have that for everyone on earth.
do you know where I think an AI leader works? Is if we had an AI leader of the world and we directed it to say
that absolutely is going to be what happens.
prosperity for the whole world.
No, but this is really an interesting question. So one of my predictions, which people really rarely speak about, is that we believe we will end up with competing AIs.
Yeah.
I believe we will end up with one brain.
Okay. So you understand the argument I was making a second ago. It's from the
100%.
position of lots of different countries all having their own AI leader. We're going to be back in the same place of greed.
Yeah.
But if the world had one AI leader and it was given the directive of make us prosperous and save the planet, the polar bears would be fine.
Then one AI leader, one world government, all nations under one God, essentially. And you saw the title on the thumbnail, AI will be your God. And this is a major warning. Ex-Google executive. So his words do really matter, because it's not just from opinion, but you have someone who was at the front line, and I still believe he still is, who's warning and saying all of these things. But yet, for several years, whether you're aware of it or not, we've had a ton of these things prophesied or said that this will come to pass, to a point where we've got a bunch of movies, and now movies are literally identical to what's going on. Tons of movies predicted a ChatGPT-like system existing. Where are we now? Here we are. iRobot, self-driving cars, Optimus-like robots, autonomous robots, police robots, Robocop. All of these things that, oh, you're just a crazy guy, like you're saying, like in the movies, right? Like in the Disney, like in the cartoons. All of these have come to pass. I mean, in this conversation, in this podcast, there were so many things that was mentioned, from augmented intelligence, from the Sam Altman's. I genuinely believe there are shadow figures behind closed doors that they want things to advance to a certain level because it will make it easier to implement the system of the New World Order. The mark of the beast, the system of the whole, the whole world reporting to one, because then it's easier to control. And the way to achieve it is, you use divide and conquer, where you try and bring order out of chaos. These are a bunch of Luciferian concepts, but if you think good people are the ones who run the world, then yeah, you've still got a bunch more podcasts to watch and sort of open your eyes in regards to it. But yeah, I don't want to say too much anyways. What I'll do is I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think in regards to this? Because this was truly, truly amazing. This was one of those podcasts where it opens up your mind and allows you to see different perspectives from people who've been maybe in positions that you haven't experienced before. And it helps to just listen and see what you can take from it, rather than having an ignorant mind and saying, what do they know? Nah, I think this. I don't really think it's a battle of opinions, but it's a battle of evidence-based opinions. Pattern recognition is a true thing that does exist in the human mind, and you can only recognize certain patterns if you've been exposed to certain things. And I believe the man that we have over here, Gawdat, I hope I didn't butcher the name, goodness me, has experienced certain things that maybe you and I wouldn't get to experience because it just wasn't your calling. And he's now been able to construct an opinion where it's like, okay, cool, some of it could seem ludicrous, but a lot of it you could be like, well, no, it does hold weight, because that seems, you understand? So like the video, let me hear from you. What do you think? Do you think AI will take over the world? Do you think it wouldn't? Do you think we're going to be on universal basic income, where you just paid money to just not have to work and you're pretty much just enslaved? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. God bless.